Hello everyone and welcome back to week 10 of the Hearthstone Global Games. We are now done with Group F, finally, after spending the last, 4 or 5 hours on them? So let's move on to Group A, where it's going to be Brazil versus Switzerland. Right. And again, stakes are a little bit different this time around. Switzerland are out either way, as you can see. There's no way that they're going to get 3 match wins by playing one series. But if Brazil win this, then they have got the entire group in the bag. Yeah, just to clarify that, China and Indonesia play tomorrow, so one of those will get to 3 wins for that 3rd spot. That is why Switzerland are out, just in case you couldn't work out. Well, there's teams with 2. Yeah, one of them will have 3. That will be Rob and Cora on that one. So Switzerland are donezo, but they have been putting quite a lot into this. I think you had some stuff about last week where Dark and Rob have got together, and they're basically on a Team Silence now.
Yeah, Dark and Ray. I think it was Ray. Yeah. Rob, you've just got Rob Wing on the mind.
Some guy.
You just got Rob Wing on the mind. Yeah, they've come together. So they haven't lost out completely from Hearthstone Global Games. They're a team that struggled in communication, as we've talked about a lot before, due to speaking different languages natively and not even having one language in common between the 4 of them. Let's take a look at the roster and see who we're talking about. Bozo, Dark, Ray, and Pekka from Team Switzerland. On Brazil's side, Brazil being Cora's pick, they're going to want to follow in Canada's footsteps, in Rob Wing's footsteps, and win the group. Legolas, Kogloran, Loxodontis, and Leomane for Brazil.
Yeah, that is one heck of a lineup there from Brazil. All of those guys have played in HCT events all of last year, pretty much. And let's have a quick look at Brazil from above.
We're very quiet. We're just admiring the...
Another country that isn't the United Kingdom for us to look at.
We're going to get to look at that later.
We'll get to look at the lovely smog-lined skies of London later.
This genuinely looks... Now it doesn't. But just then it genuinely looked like it had just been ripped out of World of Warcraft, the snowy mountains and everything. This doesn't look like World of Warcraft-y, but just utterly... we've been trying to avoid this word every time we've been going through the countries, but just stunningly beautiful.
I knew you were going to say that.
What, stunningly beautiful? Or
I knew you were going to say beautiful. I don't know if you can be stunningly beautiful. I guess you can. I think that's fine.
I'm stunned at how beautiful you are, Neil.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it very much. Let's get quickly into the lineups before things get even more strange than they already have been all day.
I was talking to the Murloc.
Of course. That's what I assumed you were talking to.
This is the Hearthstone Global Games format. The 9 classes have been split between the 4 players on each team. 1 player's got 3 classes. They're going to be playing a second time if we get to the 5th game in this best out of 5. The players have decided in advance what order they're going to be playing in and who's got what class pairings. And then it's a blind pick. So Kogloran versus Dark is the first game. They're both shown each other's classes. They're going to have to decide which of their classes they want to bring to try and counter their opponent's 2 classes.
Interesting to see that. Leomane going with Paladin and Hunter and then backing that up with Shaman in the main ace match. So Ray has Priest and Hunter together there for the second match.
Gonna be playing one of them decks.
That's interesting. They're 2 of the least played, although Priest is everywhere today.
We've seen so much Priest today.
Right.
I don't know what's caused it.
No, some sort of Priest explosion. We're going to have Rogue taking on Shaman here, though. And this is interesting because we saw Rogue, Shaman earlier, and we were saying that we think that Shaman is favoured against the Rogue.
Assuming that it's the token Shaman that you expect it to be. The only Shaman that we've seen this week, and we've seen a lot of this week, the ability to just put loads of stuff on the board very quickly and then win games very fast with Bloodlust, it just does give Shaman the edge, in my opinion. 2
of the happiest looking competitors we have seen for some time. Both these guys seem to be looking forward to this match.
Dark hit rank 1 legend twice a few weeks ago in the space of a few days with Pirate Warrior. Very hard worker. He is the anchor for Team Switzerland. So he's earned himself a lot of HCT points.
And Ray was the first person to legend this season in EU as well.
Yes, that's right.
So Ray and Dark getting it done since they teamed up by the look of it.
Yeah, Dark, I think it was last month. It was the end of last month. He hit Legend twice.
Okay.
Sorry, hit rank 1. Not hit Legend twice. You can't hit Legend twice in 1 month on the same server. That would be madness.
Yeah, you'd have to go like back to rank 25 and start again. A bit like when you sort of get to rank 1 on EU, you have to start again at rank 25 on NA.
You get such a high rank.
No, the other way round.
You get such a high rank. You beat rank 1 Legend. You beat a load of players. You get so high that the game just flips you all the way around back to rank 25.
Yeah, I was trying to make a really insulting comment about NA there, but got it completely wrong and ended up insulting myself. So I don't even know what's happening anymore at this point.
This is what happens when you fire too many shots throughout the day, Neil.
Yeah, I just fire shots at myself
find
now.
Them Raven, find them Subtle, firing them at me, fire them at Russia, and now, yeah, you've missed and hit yourself.
That was always coming. So, Rogue versus Shaman. Surprised how much Rogue we've seen today.
Going with Shaman, are we?
Sure, if you want.
No, I don't want. I want Shaman. Raven's not here, darn it.
So, it is going to be a Caverns Rogue, a Quest Rogue, if you will. And we've seen, I think because the meta has slowed down around the world, around tournaments, that Rogue is sneaking back into the forefront of people's minds, and that is probably part of the reason we are seeing more of it here today.
I think it's brave picking this Rogue, actually, when your opponent's two decks are Druid and Shaman. Both of these decks have a very aggressive form that can just counter the Rogue pretty hard.
Yeah, and Dark has the hand you would want, at least. The Bloodsail Corsair, the Flame Tongue Totem, definitely going to start putting that damage out fast. Looking for a different card there, Kuglorin, not wanting to pull that Patches out. We were talking about that earlier. Being rewarded, getting the Firefly instead, which is definitely one of the better minions to do the quest with.
Yeah. And
we haven't seen an Elemental, an Igneous Elemental in any of these decks today.
I'm sure they're still in there, but they must be, right?
For the large part, yeah. I mean, they don't have to be, but yeah, you'd think they'd be in there quite often.
Dark Reaper. Okay, so we might see a Tolvia Stone Shaper in this deck of Brazils. Don't think we've seen that either. We've not seen a Dark Reaper or Tolvia Stone Shaper yet this week.
Yeah, not seen the Stone Shaper for a while, actually. That seems to have drifted out. It was in there for a short time as almost certainly the best card against all that aggro, but now the aggro is making way a little.
It was a great improvement to the deck by Ostkaka at the time.
Wow.
That's a joke. I'm joking. It was Zixo. I'm sorry. I already regret everything.
Dan trying to bait me into defending Zixo there. I thought I'd let it go. Just to be that guy.
I wasn't going to let it go. That would not have been fair on Zixo. I almost expected Kuglorin to start by playing the Firefly on turn 1, actually, because he's against Shaman. Quite an aggressive deck now. I wondered if he'd consider just putting things on the board straight away, but actually opting to go with the secret first. Not the secret. Oh, I just called it a secret now as well. What is going on today?
So because he only has the Firefly and 1 bounce, I guess he can't afford to be too frivolous with the quest, so just getting it developed early. Switzerland have an interesting decision here. They can coin out the Jade Claws and get it over with, which means that their Bloodsail Corsair will actually take a charge off the weapon, and then playing into turn 3 with a Flame Tongue. But this way around is the more natural way, which means it's set up for a pretty good next turn. He's actually going to straight up evolve. Didn't attack with Patches, I believe. Oh, there it is. I was scared.
Have some faith in Dark, and wow, that is a great evolve. That is a really good evolve. You draw a card and get around a mage spell.
But you do get the 2 1 health minions.
Okay, the stats aren't great, but the value you get from this, I think I'd be happy with it.
I wonder.
You're not happy with it? You're never happy.
I think it's because you want to be able to trade the 2/2s or the 2/3s into the stuff you come up against. Get rid of them. And these aren't going to do that, so... On the upside, obviously, he's going to get a whole bunch of cards out of it.
Arcane Explosion, not too hot, though. Actually, that card looks pretty worthless. Against a deck that's going to spit out loads of 1/2s, unless... Well, I guess he could get a Spell Damage Totem. It's just a worse Maelstrom Portal, really.
Yeah, but definitely getting the board quick and early here. Yeah. Stonehill Defender will also be very good at getting in the way if he wants to play that next turn, and then Flame Tongue into Jade Claws.
Flame Tongue's just going to kill everything from this point on. It doesn't look like Brazil have any way of getting rid of that Primal Fin Totem, so Dark's going to be just completely free to make these huge trades.
Yeah, this is looking good already for Switzerland, and this is why you and I both thought this matchup earlier would look good.
So this is probably the last time that you're going to... Well, this is the last time you're going to see Dark compete in the Hearthstone Global Games. The last time you're going to see Team Switzerland. One thing Dark said to us right at the start, he would like the world to know, is that Switzerland is not Sweden.
Switzerland is indeed not Sweden.
Different countries.
They're out as well. They did play each other, and Switzerland actually beat Sweden.
Oh. Well, then maybe Switzerland... Oh, yeah, well, great. And that's why Switzerland are not Sweden.
Right, because they wouldn't want to be associated, apparently, with Sweden. I'm going there in about 2 days' time, so I've got to be nice to Sweden.
Of course you are.
And Dark now, how much does he... Like, if you play the Flame Tongue, you can obviously kill 2 of these minions off. If you play the Stone Hill, you defend your Primal Fin, and you get many more 1/1s in the long run, and a lot of these rogue, almost all of the rogues now don't play Phantom Knives anymore.
Right. They sometimes play Backstab, but you're right, Phantom Knives is gone, Eviscerate, for the most part, is gone as well, I think. Now, Dark, gonna just go ahead and play Stonehill Defender. Flame Tongue Totem is just a bit too risky here, and doesn't really want to overload himself next turn with J-Claws. Next turn, Flame Tongue plus J-Claws is going to be a great turn.
Right, and then, yeah, no hurry to get the Bloodlust. He hasn't even got it in his hand yet, so don't mind being overloaded on turn 5. Much better get it over with than be overloaded on your Aya turn. And now, of course, there's 2 5-drops in there, which makes things a bit more complicated. It means that J-Claw's not quite as hot as you would expect next turn. But yeah, look at this board that is developing.
South Sea Deckhand from Brazil. As usual, he's going to want to hold on to that, preferably until the quest gets completed, and then hit Dark with both the Deckhand and Patches. But no, well, no, he's got the bounce. He can play the Gadgetzan Ferryman this turn. So he can play Flame Elemental and then bounce it back. It's not quite going to complete the quest, though. If he had a preparation, Vanish this turn would be amazing.
Right, yeah, it really would. Just get rid of all these pesky Murlocs. But as it stands, he's in danger of losing a lot of minions next turn. And that's going to set him back, complete quest or otherwise. Dark's just working out when to start firing face. He'll probably use the Flame Tongue to clear up a bunch of minions next turn. He'll make a decision on the Jade Claws depending what happens here, whether he wants to be overloaded or just place his hero power button. Given that Fen Creeper into Aya looks like a good couple of turns, we may see that Jade Claws delayed. And now the patches that we've been talking about earlier as well having to come out. And this is the only way they're going to get rid of that Primal Fin, so they're having to do it.
Kagloran just needing to clear up the boards here. Yeah, sure, okay, Patches and Sassy Deckhand can speed up the win later on, but they're not going to get there if they just lose to this overwhelming board of Darks. Dark can now play Jade Claws plus... So Jade Claws plus Flame Tongue Totem would clear everything up, but it does leave the Flame Tongue Totem a little bit exposed.
The right answer, of course, is to roll a Wrath of Air Totem.
Right. But then, you've got to risk it.
Yeah, if you risk it and miss, it's just so bad. So if you do go for the Jade Claws Flame Tongue, you clear everything up, you leave yourself with a 0-3. You know your opponent almost certainly can't deal with it because he's just really struggled to deal with your other 0-3. Making a very convoluted turn. You know he doesn't want to pull Patches out if he can help it. And would suggest to me that he will probably risk being overloaded so that he doesn't have to overload going into Aya turn.
So which is it? Is it Arcane Explosion plus Jade Claws and use the Murlocs to clear up the Fireflies? Or is it Flame Tongue plus Jade Claws and just make the trades? Dark gonna go with Stonehill? Nope. Okay. Oh, nope. Oh.
Really isn't sure.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Sunwalker's pretty nice.
I am very surprised to see this. Problem is with Sunwalker is that it loses to 5/5s.
Sure. Goes for the Gastropod just so it's something he can get down cheaply.
Gastropod doesn't lose to anything.
Yeah, Gastropod's pretty good.
It loses to Divine Shield. That's all it loses to.
But now Koglorian is in a spot where he can complete going into next turn.
Yeah. He can't actually play all of the pieces this turn.
Right.
He's 1 mana short, but the next turn he'll be able to play the final piece, the last Flame Elemental, and complete the quest straight away. So as good as.
Interesting to see where Dark plans to go from here. Not feeling the need to clean up these minions, but obviously the thing isn't that he can prevent them from completing the quest. Oh my goodness, his plan is to just do as much damage as possible whilst causing maximum interference with completing the quest. And he just felt that there's no point interfering in completing the quest. Let's just hit some more to the face. But this is what happens when you let them get out of hand as the rogue.
Yeah. Bouncing back Fireflies. This quest isn't going to be completed next turn, unfortunately. It's going to take a little bit longer, but Kagloran just going for the best chance at winning the game when the quest does get complete.
Right. And Switzerland have to fear the preparation here. So from where they're sat, the quest will be completed next turn. And they need to work out a way of dealing with this board of potential 5/5s, and they need to do it right now.
Oh, it's a hard turn. So Flame Tongue Totem plus Jade Claws will deal with 2 of the minions, and only 2 of the minions.
Okay.
Arcane Explosion. If Arcane Explosion could be played in addition to those cards, then he'd be able to deal with everything.
Right.
But he's 1 mana short.
And how do they get the 18 damage through? That's the other thing. They need to get rid of this tool. They need to start hitting some damage straight through somehow.
Kagloran going to try and work out if he wants to complete the quest this turn. It looks like he... Oh, so he can't quite because of the way it turned out last turn. Though he can because of the Shadow Step. Yeah, now he can because of the Shadow Step. Right, okay. Firefly comes down, gets bounced back, gets played again, quest complete, and Kagloran can make some insane trades. The power of the Shadow Step here, just reducing the cost of these minions. And now, there's a lot of damage about to be hitting Dark in the face. It looked like he was favored, but I don't think it looks that way anymore.
Yeah, and something went wrong there amongst those discovers and amongst the fact this Jade Claws and Flame Tongue are still in his hand. It feels like those should have been developed much earlier, one way or another. And yeah, he's going to probably lose the game with those still in his hand, and that doesn't feel right when they're 2 of his best early development cards.
Yeah, something has gone wrong here, and I don't think there's anything Dark can do to make up to it as he picks up the Bloodlust. No. Can they at least prevent the lethal this turn? That is the question that I'm asking myself.
I mean, they can roll Wrath of Air Totem.
Yeah, okay, that does it. That's not it, though. So I imagine we see the concede any moment now. Kagloran, Brasil, going to take the first game of this series with the Quest Rogue in what we were saying is quite an unfavored matchup.
Yeah, I feel that Dark may have outthought himself in that game. There were a couple of plays there where if you just get on with it, play the Flame Tongue, play the Jade Claws, be overloaded for 1 turn somewhere along the line, then everything just worked out quite nicely. Might not have won, but I felt he'd have had a much bigger board. But the way he's done it, he's ended up with those key cards still in his hand at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And they're the cards you want in your opening hand in this matchup. They're the cards that deliver all your damage. They're the cards that help you trade and keep your opponent's board clear. And I feel that somewhere that Dark missed a step there, trying too hard to maybe play around too many things.
I think you're right. I think there were a few opportunities for him to get a little bit better development there. I think the turn where he played the Fen Creeper was a bit disappointing. Right. But I also think that the main reason that Brasil were able to come on top was that pickup of the Shadow Step there.
Yes.
Allowing him to complete the quest 1 turn sooner than he would have been able to otherwise meant that he could push so much damage straight away. There wasn't much that Dark could do about it at this point. But moving on, it's going to be Liamain versus Ray, picking the Hunter rather than the Priest.
Picking the Hunter rather than the Priest. The only Hunters we've seen today, I believe, were in that mirror match. There may have been one other. Today's been a good one. So plenty of matches seen already for my old brain to forget. But the Hunter mirror was really important earlier. Hunter versus Paladin, though, entirely depending on what the Paladin is and how many crabs you are playing.
Right. The more I watch these Hunter games, though, the more I just witness the strength of the Scavenging Hyena.
Yep.
You see how strong this card is. We saw it earlier today. And it does make me wonder how this card wasn't always in the meta, like constantly for the last few years. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that there's a lot more Hunter tokens, the fact that Kindly Grandmother, Rat Pack, Infested Wolf, they all spit out, Alley Cat, they all spit out 1/1 tokens, which are also beasts, which just means that there's almost always something to buff the Scavenging Hyena.
I feel that this is going to have Hungry Crabs, though, and I think it will, because you're so weak against the Paladin with your Priest in the first place, almost whatever Priest you play, and almost whatever Paladin they play, that I think if you pair your Hunter with the Priest, you've got to be aware there's a gap there, and that gap is Paladin, so I think we will see Hungry Crabs, and that makes this Hunter favoured, in my opinion, if it's a Murloc-y Paladin.
I mean, with both crabs, the Hungry Crab and the Galactic Crawler, in the turns where they get to kill something big, be it a Murloc War Leader, a Naga Corsair, whatever the crabs are gobbling up, those turns do often win games. Like, they can create such a huge swing, especially the Hungry Crab because it's 1 mana. If you can get rid of a Murloc War Leader and also buff it to become a Totem Golem stats for 1 mana without the overload that also killed something, it's just an insane swing.
Crabs that kill goblins.
Is that the next expansion?
Sounds like it.
Is that a leak coming from Blizzard caster here, Neil Bond?
I know all about their future plans and everything.
Goblins and crabs. Goblins and crabs.
Oh my god. Make it stop. Goblins and crabs. This is why we are casting and are not developing this game.
Ray has got an eye patch today. He's role-playing a pirate there.
He is doing a good job of it. He was outside last time in the Swiss sunshine. It looked like it was a really warm day, but today he's just a pirate.
Is he running Pirate Hunter?
Pirate Hunter.
Or is it a disguise? Like, he's actually got Galactic Crawlers in his deck. He plans on beating the pirates. It's just like a coup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know anymore. But he is dressed like a pirate, and I do not blame him, because if I did blame him, what sort of guy would I be?
At least he's putting on a show for us, right? Neil the Murloc approves, anyway.
Neil the Murloc is my happy alter ego. It's been altered a lot to be a happy alter ego, but there it is.
Neil the Murloc is my favourite co-caster today.
Okay, well, let's see what is going on. Let's see how many crabs we have. We do have flares and cat tricks, so this could be the Kranich version of
Forget your crabs! That's an Azoth the Corruptor, Ivory Knight. Okay, crabs could take out hydrologists, but otherwise, crab's not going to get all that much value here.
It's not, but they may not even be in here. This deck can come at you pretty quickly. And Ray has got an interesting mulligan decision. All 3 of these cards are cards you want, but you don't really want any of them in your opening hand. Cat Trick, though, is so powerful that sometimes you might keep it.
Cat Trick, is this going to be a secret hunter?
So I think the Kranich deck, I didn't cast the Kranich tournament and I was away for it, but Raven was explaining it to me last week. I do seem to remember that was a secret hunter, but only 4 secrets, like 1 explosive, 1 snake and 2 Cat Tricks, I think was the...
But it does run Cloaked Huntress?
I believe so, but again, I'm not 100% on that.
I think we've seen 1 secret hunter. To my memory, we've casted 1 secret hunter so far in the Hearthstone Global Games. I don't remember if it won or not, which is a huge shame. I wish I had that information right now. But there you go, Infested Tauren. We've seen the N'Zoth already. Ivory Knight was not in RDU's list, so I'm curious to see exactly what this deck looks like.
Just credit to Ray here for this Patches costume.
I love the hat. It's my favorite bit.
It's just brilliant. I'm so pleased. So you don't want to tracking on turn 1 because you want to use the information of the board state later, as we have been talking about with Discover all day.
Primordial Glyph being a big one there.
However, Hunter is so important that you don't waste mana, that a lot of people will tracking on 1, but Ray is saving it until he knows what he is up against.
Yeah, no 1-drop is frustrating, though, for him. He'd have loved to have dropped an Alley Cat or even a Fiery Bat or something there. Unfortunately, he's going to have to wait for the Kindly Grandmother turn 2. The faster his start, I think the more likely a chance he has to get through Brazil's defenses before Brazil just stabilize and win the game with an Azoth.
Yeah, of course, they don't know what they've got to beat yet. They will be trying to combine board control alongside killing the unknown deck at the moment, but they get the good news there's no 1-drop. We get the good news there's Leroy Jenkins in the deck.
Is that good news?
It is if you want to see somebody with chicken.
Well, we have a very aggressive Hunter deck here versus a very defensive Paladin. 4 cards in this hand, just heal him. Forbidden Healing, Rag Light Lord, Ivory Knight, heal after heal after heal. Problem is, he has to get the mana to play these heals.
Yeah, he's got to survive several turns before they start to matter, but for Switzerland at the moment, their hand is so awful in terms of the next turn that nothing seems too bad right now. Tracking will, of course, give them a good chance to save that, though, and play into a trade into the face, playing around this Hydrologist.
Yeah, it looks like Ray is just going to have to use that tracking to dig out his most aggressive cards possible. Cat Trick is actually a very aggressive card. It's good at sinking early damage, and if you do have it early, especially if you can catch the coin with it, getting a 4-2 with Stealth out on turn 2 or on turn 3, it's like rolling a Huffer from an Animal Companion. You just sink 4 damage in, guaranteed.
Yeah, except you do it for 2 mana instead of 3, so it is pretty handy in that regard. Brazil going to have to make a decision soon. They're trying to work out if they can afford to go long, but they're going to play the Repentance. That makes sense to me as we see the second tracking come out. So this is that Kranich deck, but I have no idea the exact composition of it. Like I say, I missed that part of the tournament.
The problem with these trackings is that they're a bit of a mana trap at the moment. On 3 mana, you don't want to have to waste 2 of your mana to draw 2 more cards.
Yeah, they've got nothing better to do, though. The kill command on a 2/2 is a waste. The Unleash the Hounds, I guess, is a possibility. But yeah, the tracking should enable you to get Crackling Razormaw. Or
even a Direwolf Alpha. I'm not sure if it's in the deck. I doubt it is. But there is the Razormaw. I think he's going to go for it straight away. And what's the optimum pick from this? I guess +1/1, plus attack and poisonous all do the same thing.
Yeah, that seems pretty good all around to me.
Death Rattle would be
okay.
okay, but not great. Because it wouldn't allow you to actually make the trade.
See which one he ends up getting and see what he gets offered.
1/1.
Where he wants to be. 1/1's the one.
The others are awful, so
well, stealth is a thing, but if he was going to go for stealth, he would have attacked first.
Okay, hold on a moment. Hold on, Pirate Ray. Considered going straight for the face there, doing his pirate roleplay proud, but then changed his mind. So, never mind.
Sometimes roleplay, yeah. Looking at us with his one eye there. Pretty scary stuff. Koglorian now has to start planning for the future. Obviously, he can deal with the immediate board if he wanted to coin Consecration, but then he will expect Ray just to play something big. The something big, however, is Houndmaster, and you do not want Ray to have beasts on the board on your Houndmaster turn, so you get rid of these immediately.
Yeah, I was looking at the Infested Tauren, but you're absolutely right. Preventing the risk of or the threat of a Houndmaster makes much more sense there. He can he can safely drop the Infested Tauren next turn, as Frey can't actually put any minions on the board unless he plays a tracking first.
And this is why Face Hunter with Secrets doesn't take off too well too often, because the bad hands, my goodness, they are bad. Double tracking, obviously, a nod to the fact that your bad hands are bad.
Yeah.
And
hey, Unleash the Hounds would be great if this was a mid-range Paladin and a board full of Murlocs right now.
Sure.
It's Fiery Bat, Crackling Razormaw again, coming from the tracking. I guess he just has to pick up Grandma. It's so bad, though. I guess he could pick up the Razormaw for the body.
Pick up the Razormaw and hope to get Animal Companion next turn.
Okay.
Would be one thing you could do. I mean, I think from what I remember is this deck tops out at 4 plus Leroy Jenkins. So next turn he should have something to play, and it should be a beast, and he should be able to adapt it. If he plays the Grandmother, obviously, right now, that does put something on the board. Not ideal. Actually going to go for the bat, press the mega button.
Yeah. Slightly faster way of dealing damage than the Grandmother would have been. Unfortunately, Brasil still on 28 health. Liamane looking very comfortable, as he now has 2 taunts in his hand ready to go that he can just play. He can go Infested Tauren, into Ivory Knight, into some heals.
Yeah.
He's looking like he's in a very stable position for this matchup, I think.
Nice pickup here for Ray, but not really enough, you wouldn't think. Just something for the future. Obviously, Leroy Jenkins plus Unleash the Hounds is a mini combo. It means the Leroy can do 8 damage. Because you play the Hounds after the Leroy, and it develops the Doofuses, and off you go. But Switzerland here, just out of resources already.
That is an old-fashioned combo, isn't it? Leroy into Unleash the Hounds.
Right.
Way back when Face Hunter used to be incredibly popular, that was a devastating combo.
And something I mentioned last week, you can tell how the Hunter is doing by how soon it has to start pressing the hero button every turn.
Yep.
And this is way too early.
Right.
He's having to do it, he's out of resources, he's needing to press it. It's not a mistake or anything, but you can just tell they're in trouble by the fact they're having to do it so early in the game.
Yeah, Ray is going to be able to get rid of the taunt at least with his Eaglehorn bow. Unfortunately, that's just more damage he's not developing to the face. This is just a Repentance. Ray is going to be very concerned that it could be a noble sacrifice. He might even consider playing Unleash the Hounds before he makes the attack with the bow here.
Yeah, there's a bit of a shrug there from Koglorian as well. He spent time making sure he got the ordering right there. Play the Tauren, knowing the Tauren's only going to die to the bow. Gave him a 50-50 of the Tauren taking the 1 damage, which was still going to the bow, so it would have just saved him 1. It went to the face anyway. And there's a little shrug of why did I bother playing them in order.
Right. I'm just really curious about this Ray turn. Unleash the Hounds into Houndmaster would arguably be better later, but if he thinks this is a noble sacrifice, He might need to play the Unleash the Hounds first, attempt to hit the Infested Tauren with the Hounds, and then get the bad news that it wasn't a noble sacrifice and he just wasted 1 damage.
Yeah, this is not pretty at all. He may be tempted to just do nothing.
But just Hero Power Pass?
Just Hero Power Pass is an option on the table here. Because all the other options are just so awful.
Not long left to make the decision, Ray. Gonna just go and play Houndmaster. Okay, sure. Feels out the curve nicely. There's the Repentance, though. Might consider playing the bow here. Actually, I don't think there's any point. It only, like, hitting with the bow here only plays around Harrison.
So Brasil down to 21 health with Ivory Knight, Ragnaros, and Forbidden Healing in hand.
2 Forbidden Healings, in fact. And Tyrion, just as this unstoppable taunt, going to come down later. A 3-1 mana card from Ivory Knight, so not really any healing here. Noble Sacrifice looks like the most tempting option to me. Humility, not going to do all that much against this deck. Blessing of Wisdom doesn't seem necessary either. Liamane doesn't have a problem of low value in his hand. He just has a problem of low mana.
Yeah, just plenty of time on his side, though. And like you say, he's not worried about the healing, so he just takes the 1. Oh, here's a card that Ray can actually play. I mean, it's unbelievable how long he's managed to go without picking up a decent card.
He can play it with Unleash
This
the
deck
Hounds
is
too.
just a really low curve deck.
I think he has to play on Unleash the Hounds as well, actually. You don't actually get any extra damage, but you at least put more stuff on the board.
Yeah, it depends. You get a Leok, it might work for you.
Oh. Oh, okay, so double Unleash next turn
Yeah.
is a possibility.
The look on his face is, what am I playing against? Why? I know that Ray isn't an idiot. What's actually happening here?
Oh, well, Unleash the Hounds plus Kill Command next turn is going to be 9 damage. That plus Hero Power is a potential lethal. Liamane just having a laugh now.
Finding a way.
But yeah, this has set up lethal. Funnily enough, the problem is, the moment that Liamane trades something in, he loses. Sorry, the moment he trades something in, Ray loses his win condition, I mean. The moment he does this and heals, Ray loses his win condition.
And no hurry at all for Liamane. And
Is that the sign of a concede, do you think, the threaten? Definitely looks to me like Ray believes he's lost this one. I don't know how he's going to deal an extra 25 damage and then get past the other taunts and the other heals in the deck.
yeah, it's going to require Liamane to make a pretty fundamental tragic error of some sort. And he doesn't look like the sort of man who's going to do that. Not to me, at least. They're just having fun with this right now.
Yeah, Liamane's just... He's spent, I think, a large percentage of this game just laughing at the situation. Definitely feeling comfortable.
Yeah, I think both teams are having fun with this today as well. We saw Dark having a laugh before the first game. Ray, despite the fact he's not enjoying the situation, he is, in fact, dressed as a pirate. And if that's not enjoying the situation, at least on some level, I don't know what is.
And as sad as it is, they don't want to lose. So as disappointing as that would be for them, the stakes aren't high at all for them. They don't have a chance to qualify. So it's really all on Brasil to win the group. It's looking very good for them at the moment.
Looking very good indeed. They'll take a 2-0 lead, assuming they take this one down. And it's going to take more than a pirate to come back from 2-0.
More than Ray the Pirate, you mean?
Ray the Pirate.
Yarg.
Keeping an eye on the meta.
I imagine this will prompt out the concede. If it doesn't, then the Ragnaros Light Lord that's going to come down soon after will do the trick. Or the next Forbidden Healing. I think Ray will probably only have to see one of those cards to make.
Now the Cloaked Huntress. Just the cards coming in almost exactly the wrong order throughout the entire game here for Switzerland.
She reveals herself, but it just doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. So double Unleash the Hounds plus Kill Command kills Tyrion. That's all I got.
Sure.
It actually doesn't, I've just realised. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
I'm fine.
It does.
I'm fine. You don't have to kill the hounds off before you kill command.
I'm fine.
Trying to find anything to talk about for this particular game of Hearthstone is very difficult. Let's talk about Leo Main.
I was going to say the same thing.
So what have you got?
And then we've just gone very quiet. Leo Main plays for Team Big Gods.
Okay.
He started playing Hearthstone at the end of 2013, so that will have been when it was still in closed, maybe open beta at that point. And one of the things he said about the Hearthstone Global Games is that he's looking forward to showing that Brazil has some of the best skill in the world at Hearthstone.
Yeah, and he's not exactly wrong here either. He himself has been top 8 HCT Americas 17 already this year. He was 6-6 in the HCT last season. Koglorin, 14-8 in the Hearthstone Championship Tour playoffs last season as well. Top 12 in winter. Loxodontis 3-2, Legolas 3-2. That is a total, I'm adding it up now, of 26-18 last year.
In fact, when asked what he would like the world to know about Brazil, Leo Main said he wants people to know that Brazil were the country with the second most people in the winter playoffs.
There we go then.
According to him. I haven't checked the stats. That's according to
Sounds right to me. I mean, all of these guys played in the playoffs last year. I've got no reason to believe, in the preliminaries last year, no reason to believe they didn't play in the playoffs this year. And, yeah, just impressive looking team. No wonder Cora picked them out as her team to go through.
Yeah, I would, though I don't regret picking Italy. This must prompt the concede. If this doesn't prompt the concede, then I don't know what Ray is doing. He's playing a different Hearthstone to the one that I play.
Well, you just give up.
When the board looks like this, yeah, and Ray does too.
He does as well. I don't. Why would you? Picture of presumably his other half there, but it was very, very quick.
I didn't see what it was, Lehman. Quick, show us again. You've got like 1 more second. Come on. No. Too late. It's gone.
Didn't see who that was, but
we saw him kiss it.
Congratulations to Leo Main and congratulations to whoever that got the kiss from Leo Main as well. Unless it was me. Who knows? Perhaps it was. I didn't see the picture.
It was a.
We are getting news.
Production.
It was a girl.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
I think it was probably Murloc. That's what I kissed at night.
Murlocs.
Yeah.
Katie.
Katie the Murloc.
Something to say.
Okay,
Loxodontes and Bozo are going to play Druid versus Paladin as we deteriorate further down the line.
She does a Murloc impression, actually.
Dan, this is not the time nor the place
on my
for
stream,
this discussion.
Not anywhere else. Oh dear. Okay. I didn't catch. What were the classes?
Druid and Paladin. Druid coming up from Brazil. Paladin coming up from Switzerland. And what more can we say about Druid and Paladin that we haven't said today? You really are so much trouble when you get home.
With Raven. Oh dear, with everyone.
I mean, I don't even need to throw fidget spinners across the room today for you to be in trouble. You've done it all yourself. Okay, these two guys looking a little bit more serious than the rest of the team so far. And Druid versus Paladin again. Druid has been interesting today. It's been mainly Jades and Bigs so far.
Mainly Jades and Bigs. We've seen one token Druid, I think. So one of each, actually, is as good as my memory is right now. So could be, take a gamble, could be any of the three. My money is probably actually on the big Druid again because they can't get through anyway.
It's Brazil, so they're looking to win the
group. Sorry, other way around.
You were too busy
Switzerland on the Paladin.
Talking about your personal life. I imagine it will be aggro Druid. I have no idea what the Paladin's going to be though. Let's see what happens. There's an Onyxia.
There we go. Wait, that's not the Paladin though. Okay, never mind.
And a Violet Teacher.
Oh, so it's Token Druid.
Token Druid, like why wouldn't it be?
Actual Token Druid.
Actual, really Token Druid.
Now I said there we go because I mentioned to you before that I think it was Zalay ran Onyxia in his mid-range Paladin. Then of course I realized that it was Brazil with the Onyxia, not the Paladin. So this is different. This is new. Have I missed a deck list somewhere?
Entirely possible. There's been a lot of... When we come out here, we quite often miss 1 or 2 days stuff, so we get to play when we're out here, but we don't necessarily always get cutting-edge info for the hours we're out here. And so usually we're dealing with stuff from a day or two behind. So if something massive breaks overnight, then so be it. But it does look like an upgrade on on aggro druid.
I mean, you said that aggro druids are getting heavier, right? You said that it was.
Yeah, let's just put massive dragons in them.
Nixia and Violet Teacher in.
Nixia is actually interesting because it's basically just living mana, but big and doesn't cost all your mana.
But much weaker to board clears.
Of course, yeah.
Significantly weaker to board clears. Swipe, Maelstrom Portal.
And the fact it's turn 8, so Flame Strike comes into play.
Flame Strong Totem. That's a new one. This is a pretty good hand at dealing with Brazil's start, though. Valfin Inquisitor as a 1/3 trades very well with the Argent Squire. I would have almost expected Murloc Tidecaller played first, though, and the Valfin Inquisitor coined out. Picking up Innovate there for Loxodontis is a pretty big draw, as he can play both Power of the Wilds if he wants to. Maybe one to create a Panther, one to buff everything.
That would make sense to me. A 4/2 and a 2/2 Divine Shield seems like a decent state for this board to be in.
4/3, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, gonna hold on to the Innovate. I guess, well, we've seen this deck is quite heavy, so there's actually pretty good reason to hold on to the Innovate there.
Okay, and Peacekeeper coming down immediately. Of course, from where Switzerland is sat, this just looks like a common or garden aggro druid. And this is pretty much the same build so far,
hand, right?
Other than there's an Onyxia floating about in there.
The Mulligan just confused us. Maybe we were hallucinating at that point.
Would not surprise me at all. So, Loxodonte is a little bit of a tough spot here. You're going to use a Savage Roar just to tidy up this board and leave himself with a 3/2 minion, well, a 1/2 minion hanging about.
Murloc, War Leader. Playable this turn. Actually might be tempting this turn. It's the volcano just erupting there to distract us. I saw Firebat saying the other day he genuinely didn't know the volcano erupted.
I didn't until I cast here.
Really?
Because I haven't played with the boards enough yet.
It's definitely a sneaky one. Like, I only found out when Twitch chat started telling me to do it, and I was saying, what how?
Yeah, Twitch chat told you to do something and you listened.
Oh,
you've got so much.
It's a mistake I often make.
So swiping doesn't seem too good right now. Firefly, buff everything does seem pretty good though.
Yeah, it seems alright. Not even needing to use the Innovate yet, so Innovate out Onyxia later is a distinct possibility.
Yeah, that's an option indeed. Actually, I quite like that in a way because the Innovate often gets wasted in traditional aggro druids.
Better than innovating out a living mana, let's put it that way.
To the point where, yeah, it definitely is. We saw a lot of people only playing one Innovate for a while until the Fledgling was added, and then everyone was like, well, you need to be able to go turn 1 Innovate Fledgling because it's a free win. Before that, really, we saw a lot of people dropping Innovate. Not dropping both, just dropping one, so they couldn't draw the second. If you've got an Ixia, that solves that problem, especially with Violet Teacher as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they've gone with this.
Brazil taking their time with this one, though. It looks like they are going to have come to the same conclusion that we have. I don't see the reason not to contest, create a huge board here, and just go for it.
The question is, do you want to innovate out your hero power to finish off the 1/1? And the answer to that, they've decided the answer to that is yes, because it defends their 2/1 minion. It also defends a little bit against Consecration from killing off 2 of your minions. So they're using that. So if they draw Nixia next turn, it's wasted, but if they don't, then it's going to be a good spot for them.
True Silver Champion, nice pickup from Bozo. He's able to start clearing up Loxodontis' board. Actually, it's hugely relevant. Heals a little bit, reduces the value of a second Savage Roar.
And this has got a Wrath in as well, so this is definitely a much slower deck all around.
Which is a relief, because if this was an aggro druid, like pure aggro druid, Brazil would be in a bad state here.
Right. But yeah, they are going to have a little bit of extra play. They're still in a bad state, I feel, but they have a little bit of play, and that Finger is going to almost end them, I feel.
Loxodontis may have to Wrath his own Panther here. Wait. Oh, dealing with the Panther to play around Mark of Yeshuraj? Is that what's going on here?
It's an option, but the problem if they do that is then the Finger next turn can't actually kill anything, except it can because there's a War Leader in it.
Or even Spikewitch Steed, like they both did the job.
Yeah.
That's what they're considering. The obvious play, the one that I guess you and I would have made straight away, I certainly would have, is just get rid of the Elemental.
Yep.
But denying your opponent potential cards does seem very smart.
You've got equality in hand as well, so if anything disastrous happens, the equality can still be used at a later date to make them into a 2-1 anyway.
All right.
And yeah, getting rid of the beast, I like this play a lot.
And also, now, Loxodontis can't clear his own board by wrathing to draw a card. Which...
This is also interesting.
That's something Bozo would not have been expecting anyway.
Right.
It's something the Loxodontis would have been able to do, wrathing the Panther, drawing a card, clearing the board so Fincher can't get rid of anything. But now that's just not an option. Brazil might just have to drop the Violet Teacher and Hero Power and hope for the best.
Yeah, they're not going to want to wrath unless they wrath the Violet Teacher here to draw. And like you say, they're hoping for the best. They're assuming that after that weird attack that this Fincher can deal with stuff.
Don't think that Kodo changes anything though, because that
Right.
if Bozo plays the Kodo this turn, there's no way that the Fincher's killing anything, which means no Murlocs are being summoned from the deck. And that's something that Bozo does want to happen.
Spike Ridge Steed face seems a little bit OP. A 2/6 weapon for 6. Sounds like it would be pretty good. Well, I guess they just call it Doomhammer.
Sure. It's a 2/8 weapon though, isn't it?
It's near enough. 6s and 8s always look the same to me.
And has Wind Fury. Slightly better.
Going to clear up as much as they can of this Fincher.
Bozo does look a little bit confused by the fact that there's a Violet Teacher on the board. I don't think he knows exactly what he's playing against. And to be fair, we as the casters don't know exactly what he's playing against either. Gonna just gonna just swipe this, clear it up with the Violet Teacher. Still leaves the Stagadon on the board, still leaves those 2 Murlocs there. Loxodontis is still in a lot of trouble.
He really is. It's not looked good right from the opening hand, really, I think.
No.
And it's just got worse and worse. At the moment, there's no way for Switzerland to deal with an Onyxia.
I mean, his opening hand was not horrible. Where it went wrong was when the True Silver Champion was picked up. Bozo was able to start dealing with the minions one by one and just making it so he could cope with the board easier. Now there's taunts everywhere.
Yeah, this just never gets through unless there's more to that Onyxia than meets the eye. There is now the Primordial Drake, of course, coming from the Curator, so Onyxia is not even a threat anymore.
Nope. We don't know what Loxodontis is playing, but barring a Yogg-Saron, I don't think anything he's got is going to win him the game. Switzerland likely to take their first win of the series here.
Yep, looking good for Switzerland here. And going to be another match, going to at least game 4. Yesterday was a day of very, very important matches, but a lot of them were 3-0s. Today, a lot of these matches are still important to the teams concerned. They're either playing for pride, they're playing for top of the group, but these are the ones that seem to be going longer, oddly enough. You'd have thought it'd be the real
the nail biters.
Nail biters that were going to go all the way yesterday.
Bozo just kind of giving a shrug there, going to just calmly drop Tyrion. Loxodontis looks like he's out of options to me. Maybe this will be the Onyxia draw, but even then, it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's almost like he's playing on just for the sake of drawing Onyxia at this point, because he knows there's a Primordial Drake in his opponent's hand. And they're going to say that Primordial Drake in part because of Living Mana. So even if there isn't a Living Mana, which seems quite unlikely at this point in Brazil's deck, the fact they look like that kind of deck means the Primordial Drake will be held back, which will count against the Onyxia.
In a mid-rangey control Paladin, like as soon as the Curators come down, you know that there's going to be a Primordial Drake there. If it's not drawn from the Curator, then it's already in the hand, because it's the only dragon, usually, that this deck runs. So that's why we're saying that Brazil will know to expect it.
Interesting they chose to go with the Murlocs here. I thought they might just go with the Ragnaros and just put themselves out of any sort of danger. This is obviously a fine board state. I've got no issues with it at all, apart from the fact that the Gentle Megasaur is green. But apart from that, I've got no issues with it.
It's green because the Discover is happening right now. Not the Discover, sorry, the Adapt. There we go. It's Divine Shield, Attack, or I didn't quite see the third one as the attack gets chosen. I think we've got some sort of problem spectating at the moment, but hopefully in a moment. Living Mana picked up by Brazil there. There we go. That's the board as I expect to see it. Okay.
Okay, so Living Mana into... I mean, it doesn't even get Primordial Drake if they don't want to. They can just deal with the board.
Yeah.
They probably will Primordial Drake unless they've got lethal, but...
Yeah, I don't see why not play the Drake here.
Just going to check the damage, actually.
It's trading better.
They've got a war leader in hand.
Oh.
It's just lethal, I think, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, with the war leader it is. It just is.
I think it's 33, which is plenty.
It was almost lethal without the war leader, so
Right.
war leader's going to do the trick. Hero power going to buff up that Tidecaller even more. Just 11 attack, 1 mana minion, 11 attack.
And that's going to be 2-1, which is a bit of a weird ending to the game there because Switzerland...
Oh, come on, what is this? What is this? Come on, Bozo. You got more respect than this, man.
He hasn't. Brazil didn't concede for some time there. I think Switzerland are well within their rights to have the meme finish, killing them off with a Ashbringer, of course.
Yeah. Well,
that's the second time we've seen that finish in Hearthstone Global Game.
Well, Tidecaller's just looking at Undertaker like, look, just don't worry. You just go home. I've got this. I can carry the 1 mana minions.
Yeah, pretty big at the end there.
Manaworm's chilling out in the group as well.
Everybody's favourite cards, all named at once there by Daniel Falco.
Right.
Pleasure.
Next game, Legolas versus Pekka. Mage versus Warrior. We've seen a lot of Pirate Warrior today. Yesterday we saw a lot of Quest Warrior.
Yeah, we did.
Today we've seen a lot of Pirate Warrior.
I think the decks are submitted on the same day, so that's just pure coincidence.
Yeah, it is. I don't think we've even seen a single Quest Warrior today. Unless I missed it.
We haven't, unless today was even more ridiculous than I thought it had been. These guys looking a bit more serious now. It's got to 2-1 though. And
Legolas plays for Pain Gaming. Two of the lesser-known members of the teams, I think. Pekka is the guy that doesn't speak any English.
Right.
On team. He's actually the guy I've been talking to a lot, ironically. I think he's been communicating with me through translating software. but
I should try that.
But he doesn't... What, talking to me through translation software? Yeah, maybe you need it. But he speaks French. And I believe it's Bozo that has to translate everything to him into French. Because in Switzerland, everyone speaks different languages. Like, there's German and French, and I think English are 3 native languages in Switzerland, depending on where exactly in the country you're from. It's only a small country, so quite a strange culture, not one that's shared by many other countries, but definitely makes communication intriguing.
Yeah, and it sounds like they've managed to vote for 4 players that don't all speak the same language as each other, which has made things very difficult. But they've been coping admirably with it, to be fair. They haven't complained about it. They've got on with it. Like you say, they've got a person to translate for Pekka who doesn't speak the same language as some of the other guys, and they've found a way to get it done.
Yeah, they get on with it, and they've gotten to this stage. They're, what, 1 and 3 at the moment?
1 and 3, but they've put up some good fights as well.
Oh, they really have. It's not been stomps anywhere, and Bozo here to make sure this wasn't a stomp either. He's done his job. Next up, Pekka, going to try and continue this potential reverse sweep.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it with the Warrior. Again, we've seen a lot of Pirates today, and we've seen I think we've seen more Pirates throughout the Hearthstone Global Games than Quests. But, yet again, whenever we talk about anything, it goes the other way. It's going to be the Quest Warrior. It is going to be Unknown Mage, where Pekka is sat. Do you keep the quest?
Here we go again. I like throwing it against Mage, especially with this hand. You've got Ravaging Ghoul and your Battle Rage. Neither of these cards are great in the first couple of turns.
Right.
You want Fiery War Axes, you want maybe Armor Smiths. You just want something you can put on the board. Stonehill Defender would be better than Ravaging Ghoul, I think, here. Maybe I'm wrong about that. People in my Twitch chat have told me off before for throwing away Ravaging Ghoul when I should have kept it.
It's difficult to know. I think I'd throw all 3 of these away myself, but we have seen the majority of people keep the quest. The reasoning behind throwing it away against an unknown mage, which this is, we can see it be a bit of a disaster, whatever happens here, is that you just run the mage out of resources. You can deal using your taunt minions, using your executes, using all of your removal, your brawls. You can deal with this enough stuff, and eventually they just run out of things to do.
Pekka gonna keep the quest though. Throw everything else. Gets Ravaging Ghoul back. Ali Armorsmith's okay. Brawl is okay on turn 5, but still no Warax, still no Armorsmith.
Excuse me. This hand is absolutely insane for Brazil. It is insane because they are going to be able to build a board, and then on going into the Brawl turn, they're going to be able to stick a counterspell down to defend the entire board. and Pekka is going to need to pick up good stuff.
Yeah, Legolas just looking like he's going to dominate this game. Pekka does pick up the Armor Smith, which is a minion that can go down, but now the dilemma becomes, do you play the Armor Smith just to try and prevent this early damage, or do you need to save it later and actually gain a lot of armor with it, with Ravaging Ghouls and Whirlwinds all on the same turn? He's decided he's going to have to save the Armor Smith, so unfortunately, just armor up and pass.
And now Brasil, so many options, a whole wealth of options. They would like to get the coin used in some ways here so that they can start making this Mana Worm bigger, but they also don't need to. If they want to use it, one potential play is to play the Sorcerer's Apprentice, then coin a Frostbolt to the face to prevent weapons and get a huge Mana Worm. But this is the more sensible play that normal people would make. Just make sure that your board is getting developed, but keep the Mana Worm small for the time being.
Okay. Still not looking good from Pekka down here. There's really not much to add to the second Armor Smith. He might regret not playing the first one now, as he could have maybe saved the second one for value later. Ravaging Ghoul looks like the only playable card this turn, but then he's still kind of losing Armor Smith value, because if he plays this, that's one less Whirlwind effect he could use to gain armor later on.
Ravaging Ghoul doesn't really do a lot, but it does challenge the board. It's going to be met with Sorcerer's Apprentice Frostbolt, though, which is going to be absolutely horrendous for Pekka, but I mean, his other options are just awful.
It's taking a lot of time to stop and think. Don't forget, if his team are communicating with each other, they're going to be talking in English, and then Bozo, I believe Bozo, is going to be translating that into French for Pekka.
Right.
So expect to see the rope a lot in this series, this game specifically, as everything kind of has to go through several people before it gets there.
And he is saving those Armor Smiths to play them together. Going to see how that affects now what Legolas does. Babbling Book might change things.
But gonna play the Sorcerer's Apprentice now, pointing out the counterspell it looks like.
Okay.
Because Pekka's had such a bad start, it's gonna take him a decent spell to get this back. Only spell in Pekka's hand at the moment is the Brawl. If Legolas can counterspell that, he just wins the game.
Right, and he has another counterspell, so even if something was played now to get rid of the first counterspell going into the Brawl turn, they just play another one.
Switzerland, though, finally picking up Fiery Windaxe. Could have used it 2 turns ago. This will do, though. He's able to get rid of the Mana Worm or the Sorcerer's Apprentice, whichever one he'd prefer.
Able to do that. The Frostbolt player I was talking about will come into play next turn, most likely. And not a huge chunk of damage done so far. This is what happens when Warriors armor up early. It takes a while to start reducing that health total. But I think that Pekka is going to have to War Axe down the Mana Worm, and he's the same problem he's had all game. What do I do with these silly Armor Smiths?
It's not easy. It looks like it's just going to have to be War Axe armor up again, but that will be the 3rd armor up by turn 4. Every single turn, armoring up. I don't know if he can get away with that.
Choosing to take down the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Often a very, especially in tempo mage decks, Sorcerer's Apprentice can cause a lot of damage. Not quite so bad for you now that Flame Waker's left the meta.
Remember Flame Waker, everyone?
Like,
Neil just reminding
yeah, the Flame Waker Sorcerer's Apprentice meta, she was a lot more dangerous then, and I think it's interesting because his Mana Worm's going to be dangerous now.
Well, Crystal Runner. If the Sorcerer's Apprentice was still alive, then Brasil could... Oh no, they can't play the counterspell. They've already got a counterspell on the board. Never mind. Hold that thought. Vaporize might be worth playing here just to buff up the Mana Worm some more.
I think that next turn they'll play the Vaporize and the Crystal Runner together, whereas this turn they are going to look at that Frostbolt face I've been talking about. Now they've actually seen the War Axe and forced through this chunk of damage. No Brawl, of course. Brawl's not even that good against these 3 minions.
Legolas is stopping to consider. I think you're right, though. I think Frostbolt face, it seems weird. Like, you might think you'd prefer to use the Frostbolt for removal, but by preventing the weapon from killing the Mana Worm, you actually push so much damage over the next 2 turns with this play.
Ali Armorsmith is going to stop the rot a little bit here.
Yep.
It's the first easy turn that Switzerland have had all game, or the first decent-looking turn at least.
Yeah, I'm just worried that they might consider the Brawl, but they know that they just auto-lose the game if that's a counterspell. And then even then, the Brawl is only good if the Babbling Brook is the
Yeah, it just doesn't do enough, right? So
this makes much more sense. First proc on the quest there, 1 out of 7. No, okay. I was thinking, so Sorcerer's Apprentice, Vaporize, is he's then 1 mana short to play the Cabal Crystal Courier, unfortunately. He can play it without the Sorcerer's Apprentice, though, that works.
yeah, and just run these 2 minions into the Armor Smith. 4 armor regained. And
this might bait out the Brawl.
now the Brawl looking important, but the Ghoul that has been saved for a long time also looking very, very good here.
Looks much better than the Brawl.
It's going to clear up the board.
Yeah, turns out it was worthwhile holding on to it. Ghoul plus Stonehill Defender could be the way to go here. Unfortunately, the Warex not quite going to finish up the Cabal Crystal Runner, but hold on a moment. Surely you would typically Ghoul before you play this?
You would.
Unless you're banking on drawing Battle Rage? No, because it gets traded into anyway. Huh. Possibly just a minor misplay. I guess he might pick up a Tark Reaper, but Ghoul is still better than that, so... Nope, I don't know.
I think in his head is he wants to play Armor Smith, Ghoul on the same turn.
Okay.
And so if he'd picked up something to do here that wasn't Cornered Sentry, maybe he wanted to do it this, just for the sake of putting 1 additional damage. Really, what does that stop? It's going to be a 1-4 or a 1-3. It's facing a 5-5.
That mentality could just lose him the game.
It could, but he's probably going to play the Ghoul. But had he picked up something else to play, we may have found that this 1 damage on this is not that important.
No, it's not. Later on, if he picks up a second Ravaging Ghoul or just a Whirlwind, then Cornered Sentry, Armor Smith, Whirlwind could be a very strong play.
He does in fact take the Cornered Sentry, so
that's what he's playing to. He only wins this game thanks to Whirlwind effects on the Armor Smith. May as well capitalize on that.
Medivh's Valet, a massive draw here, going to allow another round of damage to go to the face.
It actually allows the punish on making the Stonehill Defender take damage. It's better not to. It's better to use the Medivh's Valet to get rid of the Ravaging Ghoul as it happens, but that was something that almost could have made a difference.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
It's looking like it's going to be tough for Pekka to get back on this board. That counterspell's still sitting pretty there.
Yeah, it's doing good work, this counterspell. It's allowing Legolas to just freely dump minions all over the board. Sometimes you have to worry about doing that, but he's been able to do it without any concerns.
Now, is this good? Armor Smith, Ravaging Ghoul. I don't think it is good. He only gains 4 armor. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's no good at all. So maybe Armor Smith, Cornered Sentry, Ravaging Ghoul is an option here.
Yeah, you get rid of that downside from the Cornered Sentry.
Develop a 2-5 with Taunt.
So the first question you've got to ask is, are you tanking the 5? I think you probably are.
Yeah, I think you have to.
After that, I think it does become easy and your play becomes the one where you Armor Smith, Sentry, Ghoul.
I guess you can consider the Curator as well. That secret only just went down, right? Oh, no, it's been down for a couple times with the Vaporize, right?
Yeah, it's been there a little while. It was there to get the Crystal Runner onto the board. Yeah, so he's going to take the 5. Still on an okay health total, depending exactly what Brasil draw.
Okay, Armor Smith, Cornered Sentry, Ravaging Ghoul, gain 2 armor, so no need to armor up this turn. Well, I mean, armoring up would still be helpful, but the fact that you're blocking all of this damage with the Cornered Sentry does make this play pretty good. The unfortunate thing for Pekka is that Fireland's Portal going to make short work of it.
It is, and going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with the Armor Smith afterwards, but he has to do this, see if he gets a charge minion. Good time to roll Doomguard.
Taunt's not bad.
That's actually pretty handy too.
Doomguard, Leeway Jenkins, and there's one more. It's got 2 attack. It's the Hunter card. It's the Kodo.
The 2-5.
The 2-5 Kodo.
Guy.
His name has lost me for a second, but at least we acknowledged what the 3 taunts were.
Okay. So this is quite awkward because they want to get rid of the Armor Smith because that's going to be ongoing gain. They want to get rid of the 3-3 because it's the biggest thing. And they want to hit face because they've got a Fireball in their hand. Actually, a very, very difficult decision here. I do wonder if just hitting 5 to face is actually the way forward.
There you go. Well, that's Brazil's win condition now, isn't it? They know they're not going to win the long game as long as Switzerland don't sacrifice their armor up hero power. So I like this. He just needs to pick up a little bit more burst damage.
Yeah, there's plenty of it in this deck.
Yeah.
There's also plenty of big minions. Not plenty, but another Crystal Runner, for instance.
There may be a Pyros.
Might be a Pyro, seems like there might be a Yogg as well.
Ooh. We saw a lot of Yoggs Saran over the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure how much you saw last week, but the week before, I think we saw 3 Yoggs played or something crazy like that.
Yeah, did you get to cast those? I know you're a big fan of watching Yoggs happen.
I got to cast a couple of them, I think, yeah.
Good man.
And I got to cast Dragon Priest today.
So by going face here, they've given Switzerland a bit of a dilemma. Switzerland's health total getting too low. And yeah, you finally got your Dragon Priest in.
It's all coming up together.
Just going to build as much of a quest as they can. And this is the problem with keeping the quest. It's just holding them back.
They're not good cards. Sycopian Horror's fine, actually. It's a 3/6 if it's played this turn. Gonna just go for it. Oh, not gonna go for it. Not gonna play it. But you assume it's gonna be at least a 3/6 later on, or at least a 3/5. At least it's Ascension Shieldmaster.
So this double Armor Smith action now is a problem that Brazil need to deal with. Can they glyph into Flame Strike?
Glyph into Fireball. That is more
That's really
damage.
Interesting.
The
Got to be close to lethal as well.
Double Armor Smith is frustrating, but yeah, 2 Fireballs. That's 12, 13 with the hero power. What on the board can go face? It gets really messy because of the Armor Smiths. Trade, ping, you're restoring
4
armor.
and you're only getting through 3, so they're going to be on like 3 if you double Fireball them here.
Getting through 5, I think, right? Because you trade the 3/6 in, you ping it, you push 5 to the face, 12, 17 total, so 2 off.
2 off.
2 off and the Armor Smiths live, which is the frustrating part. Because they can ramp up the armor very, very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like you need to kill off an Armor Smith here. Annoying though that is.
Really don't want to do that, but you're right, you do. Ah, dear.
The worrying thing is you have to kill them both.
What's amazing is that Pekka hasn't played a single spell this game apart from the quest itself.
Yeah, it's a good job he got
and
that
I guess
down.
the coin.
Nope, they're refusing. Yeah, they are doing. Okay, cool.
Is that it? Did he run out of time? Okay. He got all the attacks in, that's the important thing. Execute picked up, Counterspell still on the board.
Brawl in hand as well, so Execute into Brawl will work. Also, Brawl into Execute will basically work as well.
Yeah, Brawl into Execute is safer. If you're sure that there's a Counterspell, Brawl into Execute is safer. You can definitely clear the whole board that way. But Curator seems okay too. Get some more taunts. 3 taunts in hand now. This quest is getting closer to completion. Just another thing in the way that Armor Smith is going to use to build some armor.
Yeah, and Pekka being very patient with these Armor Smiths in the early turns. Definitely getting the dividends from that now.
Mirror Entity picked up from Legolas. Not the most helpful spell at this stage in the game. Anything that Switzerland summons or plays from the hand, it can probably just be dealt with. Or we can probably just deal with the copy of it.
Yeah. They're going to play it anyway, though. Obviously, not only is it okay, but it adds to the general confusion as to what's going on.
Yeah, 3 secrets down now. 3! That is definitely confusing.
It's weird because the more secrets you have down, it's almost easier to play around.
Well, sort of. But Pekka's going to have to consider the possibility that there's a counterspell and a spellbender now.
Right, yeah, spellbender's always the spanner in the works because it's not in many decks, but when it is, because of that, it can just be a disaster.
5 out of 7 on the quest, as we just saw flash up for a second there. More than 2 taunts in hand. Switzerland going to be free to play the Sulfura soon if they want to. But that's the big question, whether or not they're going to want to. Because they're going to need the armor to keep coming, I think. Especially if that Armor Smith gets dealt with.
Yeah, I feel like this Armor Smith needs to be dead by now. I think it's gaining more armor than letting it live is doing, yeah.
Just
they're putting it down to 1-2
okay.
so that the Primordial Drake will blow it up.
Sleep with the Fish is another spell, which could be used to proc the counter spell. It's not even so bad here. Could be played with the Primordial Drake. Primordial Drake gain 2 armor, deal with Medivh's Valet, Sleep with the Fishes ends up proccing the counterspell. Ravaging Ghoul makes the trade. If the Ghoul makes the trade first, actually Ghoul into Primordial Drake seems fine because you gain 3 armor that way.
Sure.
And then armor up. That's 5 armor. I think that's the play.
And it's now about how to turn this around the safest way.
The only problem with the Primordial Drake play is the potential of Mirror Entity, but again, do you care too much?
And is there much you can do about it? At some point, you've got to proc the Mirror Entity anyway.
Just execute it later.
If you're clearing up the board, it doesn't seem like the worst time to do it. I guess they're trying to hang on to this Armor Smith as long as they can.
Just going to put down all of the taunt minions you possibly can this turn. No, it looked like Daihon Hatchling was going down.
That would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Put it more down, more health.
Protects the Armor Smith better too.
And that is completing the quest as well.
Not even sure that matters too much though.
No, it just means that the timer is even more ridiculous against Brazil now.
Okay, Arcane Intellect, something that Legolas sorely needs is more cards. Another Fireball. How many Fireballs has there been this game?
That's numbers 2 and 3 now.
2 mana one obviously came from the Glyph, that's why it costs 2 mana. Babbling Brook makes sense this turn. Should we see Fireball number 4?
Looks like it. Let's go for it.
That's
Vaporize number 2.
fiery, but it's unplayable here. 2 unplayable secrets, and Legolas actually finds this hilarious by the looks of it.
Yeah, and what do you even do now? Letting these Armor Smiths seems to have been a mistake, letting them live for so long.
Do you Fireball both minions? And then
Force through some damage.
trade the Medivh's Valet into the Armor Smith? Ooh.
Maybe?
Gives you the best board you can possibly have at this point. You've still got Counterspell. Yeah, second Fireball hitting the Cyclopean Horror there.
And finally, this Armor Smith that's been around forever, it was in the opening hand for Switzerland, is going to get taken care of, maybe.
Definitely managed to milk it a lot. Got a lot of use out of it. Nope, gone face with everything. Decided that 2 damage means more than the potential armor that Switzerland could gain. But now, Battle Rage picked up. Pekka can punish that.
Yeah, it's going to be worth a card if he wants it as well. Still got that counterspell that's been there forever.
I imagine Primordial Drake's still more likely though.
Yeah, I agree.
And that will mean that the going face was fine. It wouldn't have made a difference because he only gained 2 armor back from it. So the 2 damage that was just dealt face. Actually, it worked out better for Brazil this way because they put 2 damage to the face instead of gaining 1 armor for Switzerland.
Right.
This way, they put the damage to the face. Switzerland gained 2 armor. So net profit, 1 extra damage by making that play.
Sounds good. I'm not sure overall that all the face attacks worked out. I'm really difficult to track how that would have panned out.
I think it should have gone a long time ago, but just all I was saying is that the last hit ended up being fine. There's the Pyros.
Not sure if it's too late or not, but it's going to give them threats for the next 3 turns.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't think Legolas is out just yet. It's so funny that not a single... Look at the spells that have gathered together in Pekka's hand. Oh, man.
Yeah, plenty of spells going on.
Whirlwind picked up after the Armor Smiths are both dealt with. That's a bit of a shame, though. He can use it to get some draws with Battle Rage later if he needs to.
And this is the point we always talk about the quest. Yes, you kept the quest in your opening hand, and now you're in a position where you don't really want to play it, although you might do anyway.
Should we create a new swear jar for that conversation?
Not yet.
So we got four attack priest.
That's all I got.
And now talking about keeping the quest as a quest warrior against mage.
It's always at this point where you start to realise, well, hang on.
Yeah.
They're not even playing it.
Yeah.
So why have it?
Yeah. What if that card was something different earlier?
But then last time we said that the quest was played and it won the game, like from about this spot. They just start going, bosh, bosh, 8 to face, 8 to face, 8 to face, win the game. So yeah, that argument is going to rumble for some time, I feel.
Yeah. But now what? Trade Battle Rage? Is that how we're starting this turn? Whirlwind to get rid of the counterspell. Very nice. Battle Rage going to draw 2 cards. Not long to make the rest of this play, Pekka. Your team are going to have to shut up and you're going to have to just go. Sulfuris. No, okay, all right.
Sulfuris would have been wrong, I believe.
We just got trolled there for a second because the mouse definitely went over the Sulfuris. I'm not crazy.
Okay. Whatever you say. Finance Portal into the 2/7, kill it off, get your 6/6 back. Seems decent at this point.
Yep.
Can't let the Ali Armor Smith gain them.
You can't let more Armor Smiths do more work. Gonna actually Firelands the Drake, okay. Could Frostbolt the 2/7, I guess.
Establishing their second counterspell.
Okay. Oh, big draw for Pekka there. Just a lot of stats. You said that 8 was the hard number for Mage to deal with. Well, 9 is just that little bit worse.
It really is that much more difficult.
9 is Fireball and 3 ping. It's not Fireball and 2.
You have to now go Fireball, Frostbolt, and that just gets awkward. Wealth of options here for Switzerland. It does look like they're going to level it up at 2-2, having looked for all the world like they're just going to go 3-0 out at one point.
The potential reverse sweep maybe continues. We'll see what this Pyros can do, though. And still very realistic potential of a Yogg-Saron being in Legolas's deck.
Yep. He's just going to chew up all the leads so he can't hear his teammates anymore. All right. Still on 30 health, like you say, there could be a Yogg-Saron, looks like.
That's no good.
Probably slightly more likely than not to be in the deck, in fact.
Too many secret things here for Legolas in the Secret Mage. You've got the Secret Synergy card, you've got the Secret, but you just can't play it because the Secret's already down. And Switzerland, like how Pekka hadn't played a spell for so long, he hasn't managed to hit the face this game yet.
He has not, but that may start fairly soon. He's up to a 24 health if you count the armor at some point now. He will be able to play the Sulfuras down safely. Probably not yet, but soon. Got the execute ready for the 10-10 Pyros. That's the important thing right now.
Yep. So, Legolas just considering playing the Kirin Tor Mage. Can he win this game if he doesn't put more tempo on the board? 24 health is just so high, considering that his health is down to 13. That 11 armor is pretty brutal.
So much damage that Brazil managed to force through in the early game, but just haven't been able to keep that tempo flowing. And yeah, now just having to do this to remove the 6-9 and yuck.
Yuck. Indeed. Slam plus the Acolyte of Pain going to be able to make short work of the Cthulhu Cult Dark Priest card.
That card indeed will be short workified when Slam comes out here. We'll of course just trigger the counter spell, which will mean that the Execute and the Brawl are free for the rest of the game to do what they like.
Even Arena players are going to struggle with that card because it doesn't show up in Arena.
I feel like I should know. I should know it. I just Hooded Acolyte or something like that.
That might be it. That might be it.
Acolyte of Cloaks.
Acolyte of Cloaks? We'll take it.
It's hooded. I'm going with Hooded Acolyte, and it sounds slightly wrong, but close.
We're doing the card of misservice for sure, but never been in the arena, never been in the meta. Poor thing.
Okay, so
second counter spell gonna eat up the Sleep with the Fishes, and now Slam plus Acolyte gonna do its job. Next turn I think is gonna be quite straightforward for Brazil. Gonna be just trade and Pyros, trade and replay.
Yeah, and hope that your opponent doesn't have their Execute ready. Well, they do. They don't have the trigger for it yet, apart from tanking 10, which they don't really want to do.
Or just trading in the Bloodhoof Brave.
And now they've got the Bloodhoof Brave ready for it as well.
Oh, look, there's an Ice Block in this deck.
Yeah, Ice
Block. Oh, okay, so this works, actually. Just put that down, put the Ice Block down. If the Direhorn Matriarch goes face, Vaporizers will deal with that. I don't think it will go face, though. It's actually difficult turn for Pekka, because if he trades it in with the Kirin Tor Mage, then all it takes for Legolas is a ping to dispose of it. If he trades it into Pyros, then he knows he's just putting Pyros back in the hand as a 10-10.
And again, we're seeing a warrior take care of Mage without using Sulfuras. This is becoming
another pound goes in the
ongoing theme. But look, I mean, seriously, that could have been another card throughout the whole game. And they made it a little bit awkward on themselves. It would have been so much easier if they just... This quest isn't going to win them the game. They may win the game with the quest because they run out of other things interesting to do, but they can win this game without that quest. You could remove that Sulfuras and they'd be in a good spot. Yogg aside. Yogg is the big wild card and standard card as well at this point. So yeah, they are going to play Sulfuras, and yes, it is going to be nice to have it, but that isn't going to be the sole arbiter of who wins this game.
No, it looks like it's completely down to the armor, honestly. For Hero Power, going to deal with one. No, not even any need to play the execute here. Gonna make the trade. It looks like play it safe. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just for a second there, we got trolled again by Pekka. Looked like he's going to blow up his minion.
Legolas looked really excited for a second there. It could easily be an ice barrier, as far as Pekka's concerned.
Yep.
It's Vaporize, Ice Barrier, or Ice Block, I think.
Ah, hello there.
Nothing can stop me. Nothing.
Apart from executes.
These guys are having fun, aren't they? Where's this going to go? It's going to go to the face. Finally, Pekka starts to deal some damage. And, yeah, it's going to take execute now to get rid of this.
Now, in fairness, the warrior is running out of stuff.
Sort of. Never going to run out of damage, though.
No, because the quest. But in fairness, the quest is actually making a difference.
Okay.
For my rant, I've got to sort of balance that by saying, actually, they are just starting
Then
to run out of
again,
damage.
isn't it likely that in this time the quest would have been drawn again anyway and
It starts
completed by
becoming
now?
possible, but if you draw it in these bottom 6 cards, for
Yeah, of
instance,
course.
and you haven't got any stuff to do,
And it's just dead draw
it is
entirely.
possible that you cannot win the game. But I think you still end up in a better position than Mage, because there would have been another 10 armor or 6 armor or whatever. By the end of the game, you just fatigue them.
But this is just very sad for Legolas now. Again, unless there is a mystery Yogg-Saron in the deck, can't think of there being a card that yields too much more value. I think we've only seen one Kirin Tor Mage, for example. I think that we've only seen one... Oh no, maybe not. Is
I
it
can think of a lot of 2s that we've seen.
It's the second Medea's Valet, isn't it?
I wouldn't like to say at this juncture. Might only be one Arcanologist we've seen, possibly.
Arcanologist, right, yeah.
Okay.
So there isn't much space in the deck for a Yogg-Saron. Sometimes these decks run Pyroblast, we might see that, but that does pretty much nothing. There's the second Arcanologist, okay.
Do you even want to play it? You got to really.
Want to thin out this deck if you possibly can. There's a Spellbender, not going to do anything whatsoever except maybe eat up and execute if there's something else big in the deck. But I don't know.
Firing 1/1 pings at someone who's firing 8/8 gubbins at you. My money's on the 8/8s.
Yeah. Looks like after this game, going to go to game 5 after all. Brazil still really want to win this series. They want to take their first place spot in the group. If they lose, I believe Bulgaria get it unless China win 3-0. That's how it works.
Okay. I'll go with that. That makes sense to me. And again, Rob and Cora on that one. Tomorrow, China versus Indonesia. As we just going through the motions in this particular game of Hearthstone, and the motion is there a Yogg? Because I can still win the game. A Yogg sometimes just draws you loads of cards and fatigues you to death, but it can just fire a couple of things at your opponent's face. And
yeah, we all want a troll at the moment. Come on, let's admit it. We want to see Yogg do this.
I mean, if there is a Yogg, I want to see it. If there isn't a Yogg, I want the game to end.
Pekka doesn't want to see it.
There's the 2 things I'm thinking right now.
So we decided there may be a second Medea's Valet. We said that there was a second Kirin Tor Mage, so we've been expecting this one. Not sure what the last card is.
Don't know.
Have we seen 2 Cabal Crystal Runners?
How many ice blocks have we seen? There's only one in the deck usually.
Yeah,
We've seen that.
There should only be one.
Have we seen 2 Mirror Image? Mirror Entity?
Entity?
No, because there's only one because they're playing the Spellbender.
What counts Spellbender, yeah. Pekka.
Scratching out his own eyes.
Has he actually hit the face with anything other than the hero power yet? Yeah, he must have done. No, he hasn't, because Vaporize still hasn't procced.
Not for a long time. He's done 20 damage, so he's done 4 with something. Maybe he got a Drake hit in at some point earlier. I don't know.
Vaporize is still down there, and that's been
Yeah.
down since about turn 4, and he was definitely on 30 health at that point, so that is confusing. That is confusing. Though that's why Pekka's considering not hitting with his weapon.
It is.
Because he wants to play around Ice Barrier. Gonna go for it though. Realize that it's a Vaporize. That's the only secret that they could possibly be. The one that's been there right from the beginning of this game. Well, from about turn 4 or 5.
Yep.
Feels like the beginning of this game.
And just gonna wait.
Out of cards.
What dealt that other 4 damage? That's really bugging me.
Glyph. Pyroblast off the Glyph, and a Pyroblast is the last card. That would have been a way to win the game, and that might be what the giggling is all about.
Curator Mage at least gets to smack the face here. If it can smack the face again next turn, then it's still going to be 1 off lethal.
Well, Pyroblast is going to make things interesting as well, but they haven't got a block up.
Yeah, so next turn, if it is a Pyroblast, yeah.
So Slam, Sleep with the Fissures, or Slam, Execute. Is there a counterspell up? I've lost
There's
that
a Spellbender.
completely.
There's a Spellbender.
There's a
so
Spellbender.
That would block the Slam, which would prevent the Sleep with the Fishes and the Execute. So, okay, if the hero power goes face... Right, doesn't that just...
Remember the last card could be Pyroblast.
There's no ice
makes
block
this
up.
interesting.
It's Spellbender and...
Right, if the hero power goes face, it's over.
Yeah.
But they've got to try and kill the 4/3, and there's a counterspell up.
Is it counterspell and Spellbender then? I know there's a Spellbender.
Perhaps there's not a counterspell anymore. Spellbender, Vaporize, Counterspell. 2 of these 3 sequences are up.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
It's Vaporize. It's Spellbender and Vaporize. It's the Vaporize that's been there right from the start. I don't know what dealt that extra 4 damage earlier, but there you go. Pekka takes it away in what turned very confusing with the Christmas Tree Mage. I think that's what we call it these days. Oh no, I don't think anyone's ever called it that, just me right then. But Pekka takes it away. Gonna go to game number 5 now.
So there wasn't a counterspell up. Why didn't he just Slam Execute that?
Because there was a Spellbender.
Because there was a Spellbender.
Which could have been a counterspell, I think, as far as Pekka was concerned.
Right. All right.
I don't think he had tested for that, because the Spellbender
He
only
could
went down
execute the
a couple
Spellbender
turns ago.
anyway. I guess he didn't want to draw the cards.
He can execute the
cycle through his deck.
Spellbender, but then the...
Go to Fatigue. Yeah, going to Fatigue would have been bad. That's why.
Anyway!
No, don't even know anymore. Hunter versus Mage. We're going to have a new game of Hearthstone because of the end of that one. Seemed to take about 3 hours after we got to the point where the Warrior looked like it was going to win. And it's going to be all on the line for Brazil. If they can win this, they can still win the group with this Hunter. And it's a good matchup for Hunter.
Gotta
usually.
give it to Legolas, though. He fought the good fight. And yeah, just got to win with Hunter. You're right. Good matchup. We've seen Hunters with flares quite often in this tournament, actually. Just what we saw earlier in this series, in fact, had a flare in it. The one that also had Leroy and all the secrets in. Ray's Hunter, that was it. That's Liam getting ready. He won his game earlier.
Yep.
Bozo also won his game earlier, so it's...
These are the ace players, after all. That is what they're for.
Switzerland, for the pride of their country, going to want to complete the reverse sweep.
And Brazil for first place and a good seeding.
Brazil for a good seeding.
Avoid Canada, avoid the USA, avoid the Ukraine. That seems a good idea to me.
And a better potential of a lot of prize money. Yeah, that's what they're in this for, and you cannot blame them for that.
Yeah, exactly. They're through to the next phase, but that extended seeding help is very worth having.
Yep. We're just getting ready. Final game of this series starting right now. It's going to be the Discover Mage versus Catrick on the other side.
So it looks like it's going to be the same Hunter we've seen quite a few times the last 2 weeks.
What is with all these cat in the hats? Literally, Ray was playing this earlier in this series.
Yeah, we saw this quite a bit last week after Kranich got through the APAC qualifiers. It was a deck that I believe he brought. From what I remember with my discussions with Raven, so hopefully I'm crediting Raven correctly with knowing things.
Well, Raven is the Hunter guy, right? Or
He
used to be,
is, that's why I listened to him. Yeah, before he turned to the Mage.
Side.
And that's where he resides, somewhere in between the two now, whenever possible.
Sure, why not? Well, you know, he just needs a third deck and then he's got a Conquest lineup.
Wow, might take a while. Okay, so good for the Hunter because the Hunter hero power. Obviously, it just is a way of getting through Ice Block much later in the game. And what I mean by that is it means the Mage can't just control the board, get rid of everything, and then assume you can't kill them. It has to do all that stuff and then heal itself with Alexstrasza or with any bits and pieces it might get from a Cabal Courier.
Again, if I recall correctly, wasn't Ray's Hunter running a flare in it?
Yep, almost certainly.
Ray's. So in that case, if this is the same list,
Right.
if it happens to be exactly the same list, which would be a little bit odd as they're on opposing teams, but it would boost the win rate of this deck again in this matchup.
Yeah, it is entirely possible there's a flare. I'd say it's more like there is than there isn't. Okay, Bozo going for the early glyph here. Very tempted to say the Volcanic Potion. You end up with a lot of tokens spread around the board in this There's also a way of dealing with a cat trick if you do it at the right time.
Right.
Of course, he has no idea what he's up against. This is the downside of doing the glyph early. But correctly identifies the likelihood and takes the volcanic potion.
Well, against any hunter deck ever, I think Volcanic Potion's probably going to do a pretty good job. There's usually a batch of tokens lying around at some point in the game, so Volcanic Potion is going to do something. Attack seems pretty strong here, almost an instant pickup for Leo Main. As instant as a decision can be in the Hearthstone Global games, I think.
I don't think this one will take much longer. Ping that off, Volcanic Potion, go. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, 1 mana clear the board doesn't seem like a bad card at all. I can see why Bozo picked it. Now, Leo Main got to take the initiative again. It's fine though, he can just put Animal Companion down.
He can and probably will. Next turn he's got the 2 secrets, gives him an extra turn to pick up the Huntress as well.
If he picks up Huntress next turn, that's pretty huge. Fireball on Misha feels pretty good for Leo Main, actually, that one.
It does, but you can't afford the Houndmaster to buff that, so got to deal with it as much as you can.
Where is Cloaked Huntress? Leo Main is asking everyone right now. Cat Trick and I imagine Snake Trap. Nope, gonna Hero Power, actually.
All right, so we might see Courier played here as opposed to a secret to play around Cat in the Hat. They may also decide that they don't mind activating it as they're in a position to deal with it with Medivh's Valet.
Well, Counterspell is the only playable card here, right?
Unless you want 2 1/1 imps for some reason.
I don't think you want 2 1/1 imps for some reason. 5 mana, summon 2 1/1 imps. No.
Seems reasonable to me.
Counterspell makes
What could go wrong? Counterspell does make a lot more sense, especially against a deck that didn't do much in the last couple of turns.
Yeah. You've got Secrets in hand, so dropping the Medivh's Valet here feels frustrating, but I think he needs to put something on the board, honestly.
Yeah, they don't really want to cast the spells either, so makes sense.
Then again, by putting the Medivh's Valet down this turn, you lose the 3 damage to get an extra attack in, but the 3 damage kind of doubles as an extra attack anyway, so...
But you don't have to worry about Cat in the Hat. You just don't play a secret for a long time this way.
Right.
And then eventually you might even want to go secret into Meteor and just kill the Cat in the Hat the turn it appears. That's on turn 9. That's a long way off. He does decide in the end to keep the Valet in his hand, though. Obviously, for the reasons you're saying, it is good value.
Firefly now the only minion in Leo Main's hand. He can drop both of those and Snake Trap. Maybe drop 1 and Snake Trap and Hero Power, just to squeeze that Hero Power in every possible turn.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to need to do that. That is indeed what happens.
All right. Bozo picks up some card draw. Not really what he needs right now. He's got cards. He needs mana. Problem is, all of these spells will activate the Cat in the Hat. Then again, we're getting to the stage in the game where maybe it doesn't matter. It's just a 4-2, and we are getting to turn 6. He's going to have to do something now, though, because there's a board full of snakes.
Board full of snakes. Not much fun for anybody. But now I feel that he can just make a block, play the Medivh's Valet, deal with one really horrific turn, and then Meteor a whole load of it away.
Yeah, Meteor will be great when it's playable next turn. If Bozo could somehow play a spell and Meteor this turn, it would be perfect. Just Meteor one of the snakes. It kills the Cat in the Hat in the process. But unfortunately, it's not how mana works.
He knows it's Cat in the Hat, but he's just trying to work out how do I deal with... He knows it's very likely to be Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
Working out, do I really mind eating the damage? He knows the output of this deck because we've seen it earlier today. He's been playing it. Just needs to work out, you know, delaying versus just getting on with it. The pros and cons of each. And he's going to delay.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
He is intending, by the look of it, to wait until turn 9 to Meteor away the Cat.
Unleash the Hound summons 2 Hounds. Already had 1 in hand, so potential to summon 4 Hounds. Feels a little bit wasteful, though it might be the only play here. Like Flame Elemental, Unleash the Hounds, Hero Power, go. Yeah.
And that's where he's going to go with it.
Push everything face, because that's how you win this matchup.
Yep.
Can't afford to sit around and trade. And also, you'd quite like it if Switzerland still has minions on the board next turn, so you can play the second Hounds and get even more damage.
Right, Pekka needs to think... needs to think long and hard here. Switzerland, because they can clear bits up, play minions, and wait a bit longer. They've got double ice block at some point. And the reason that's important is because if they can pick up Alexstrasza and have an ice block up, they can still win this out of the blue in 2 turns at some point.
Right. Sorcerer's Apprentice into Arcane Intellect. Nah, they need to play the Meteor. They just have to. They can still play the Sorcerer's Apprentice first. But they haven't activated the cat yet. Oh, never mind. That's the problem. So it's still not possible to get the cat out and kill it straight away.
It's not.
So frustrating for Bozo.
And it makes calculating so difficult as well, because there comes a point where it is worth doing. If this apprentice sticks, though, everything gets so much easier next turn. This is the gamble he's taking.
Big if. Big if. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. Like, Unleash the Hounds plus Crackling Razormaw. One way or another, Liam can get rid of this apprentice if he wants to. Let's see. Wind Fury, Death Rattle, Liquid Membrane. None of those are going to actually help get rid of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Wind Fury is an additional 1 damage, so actually worse than +1/+1, and significantly worse than +3 attack.
Plants isn't too bad. It's just more damage next turn. But you are expecting your board to be cleared by Volcanic Potion again, or by Flame Strike at some point.
That's true.
So maybe that's okay.
Oh, that's 2 extra damage, potentially. The Wind Fury was only 1 extra damage. Not Unleash the Hounds, but Explosive Trap, but as you said, would be a big deal. The Sorcerer's Apprentice is stuck. Now, Bozo can actually trade with a snake, play a spell, like any of the secrets, maybe Counter Spell being the best one, and then just Flame Strike.
Yeah, gets rid of the cat as well. Might have to set up Ice Block here.
Oh yeah, okay.
Set up Ice Block, bump into the snake, Flame Strike away everything else, and don't attack with your Sorcerer's Apprentice. You've got to work out your timing of attacking the Sorcerer's Apprentice. You don't want to get down below 2 health with a block up and still have that Explosive Trap up, because it will kill you because your secret won't trigger on your own turn.
Right.
So he may do something that looks weird at some point and actually attack into the Explosive Trap on purpose. But it won't be until he's cleared everything up with his Flame Strike. But then he needs to decide whether he wants to... He'll probably leave it at 1 more turn, but he won't want to go down to 2, having not triggered that Explosive Trap.
Yeah.
He can win without attacking. He can just go Alexstrasza,
of course,
Fireball, Pyro, and never attack the whole game, and that might be what we're seeing here.
I think in this game, the moment he picks up the Alexstrasza, he just wins. Eaglehorn Bow, great draw for Liam now. He can push 5 damage this turn. He can't push 2 more with the Hounds because of the counterspell, but 5 damage this turn, and then potentially the rest next turn.
Yep, looks like he should be able to get through this block. Set up the cat trick, and there's nothing that Bozo can do about this. Except it's fact it's countered.
Well, yeah,
he didn't set up the block, sorry, yeah.
The counterspell, because now next turn, with Unleash the Hounds, plus Eaglehorn Bow, plus Hero Power, it clears, it wins the game, or clears the block if it goes down next turn. So, this... Switzerland have to play the ice block, and has to hope there's no flare. Liam actually praying here. He knows how close he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Now Alexstrasza is a good start for Liam. Counterspell actually does prevent Liam from having enough damage.
Do you Frostbolt the face to prevent the attack, or do you save the Frostbolt in case you pick up your Alexstrasza?
Can I just do it? Makes sense to me. Nah, Liam not looking so happy about this, but he's got time. Until Alexstrasza gets drawn, he does have time. Galactic Crawler picked up by the Hunter, not going to do anything here.
Wow.
So close for Liam and Team Brazil. So close to winning the entire group.
Switzerland have to decide if they ever think they can get an attack out of Medivh. They're going to be propped next turn, so
and Flair would
probably can't.
Flair would still win Liam the game as well.
Right, any point that Flair comes out, that is just the end of the game.
Liam would have to actually get rid of the counterspell first, because counterspell actually does counter the Flair. but Unleash the Hounds first,
sure.
Then the Flare, that would be lethal for Liam.
So he's going to play Medivh into Frostbolt, I feel, here. This will be another turn where the Explosive Trap won't actually kill him.
Yep.
So he can do this turn, and then next turn basically get the attack in with the Medivh, choosing to play the Medivh afterwards because the explosive trap's going to get procced and the minion that costs naught will be a wisp and that will just get killed.
If he was going to attack, he would have done it before playing the Medivh, so not actually attacking at all. That's going to...
But he may do next turn still.
Right, yeah, of course, because of the counter spell.
Right.
The hounds can't come down, so yeah, you're right. There's one more turn.
Which means that these minions can be used for board control before the attack with Medivh.
Caught up
7-7 or 7-5 not being really relevant for Medivh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Leomane just drawing all of his cheap beasts now. They're not relevant anymore.
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins, Flare, these are cards he'll be looking for. Gets rid of the counterspell, so Flare will win the game if he picks it up at any point. Assuming that he's not dead.
Yeah, if an Alexstrasza gets picked up as well, then it's just the end of the game. Actually, it's lethal with Pyroblast here.
16, 17.
Oh, no, it's not.
I can't see it.
No,
yeah, because the two minions will die, right?
Yep.
Remember, the two minions are going to die. But Pyroblast will make a massive minion. And the Ice Block, they're going to have 2 turns to pick up damage. They've got a Cabal Courier. They're going to get a repeated attack with Medivh. And the only thing they're going to lose to really is Flare in that time. They're going to have several draws to pick up lethal. They've played this really well, keeping this explosive up, but now it's time to attack with Medivh, and that doesn't make the world any easier.
Well, Bozo's deck has a Yogg-Saron, even if the one we saw in the previous game did not. Legolas's deck did not have a Yogg-Saron.
So, next turn, your block gets procced anyway, so there's no reason that I can think of not to attack into this explosive trap. It does boost the weapon, but that doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And it does allow you to set up. I guess they're deciding whether to Pyroblast first.
Let's see what pops out. Jiraxxus? 9 mana, of course. You don't usually see Jiraxxus popping out from a Pyroblast Atiesh, but with the discount, then that becomes possible. It really confused me for a second there. I don't remember Jiraxxus being 10 mana. Okay.
So, going to do the attack. Now has to decide whether he wants to attack with the Atiesh as well. That involves counting and stuff like that. I imagine that you do attack with it. The game's over in 2 turns either way. You might as well get that extra 1 point of damage in. Leomane praying to pick up the Flare. He probably has 2 trackings in the deck as well.
He clearly has it. He's like waving one finger around, like 1 card wins me this game.
He's
You're right.
Probably got 2 trackings to find it with.
Tracking would have gotten him there, but nope. His brain just exploded in front of us, I think, as Bozo, looking very pleased with himself, going to take game number 5. Knocking Brazil's chances of winning the group out. Brazil still qualify to stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. Got to make that clear. Switzerland still do not qualify for the Hearthstone Global Games. Got to make that clear. But for pride's sake, they've done it. They've taken their 2nd win. And now it's up to Bulgaria and China who's going to win this group.
Yep, China play tomorrow, and China aren't even qualified yet. If they lose to Indonesia, they don't even get through. That's how close the group is.
It's funny how it was sort of the same with Canada today. Like, if China lose, then they're out. Well, I mean, they had the whole Denmark thing as well. But if China lose, they're out. If China win 3-0, then they actually win the entire group. So it shows how close these guys are.
Yeah, it's been a very close group. Great day for Switzerland. Brazil do still qualify for the next round, so despite losing, they won't be too despondent. It's a clean reset. The only thing they're playing for there was the seedings, but they will now be seeded in a situation where they probably have to beat one of the very, very best teams in their group.
Switzerland doing their best to put Brazil in their place, and they've done exactly that. What a great win for the team. Bozo looking very, very happy there. I'm
not surprised. They've just invested like 2 hours of their lives into this match of Hearthstone. There's nothing worse than playing a long match and losing it, especially when all on the line is your pride and your reputation as a pirate cosplayer.
Wow, this feels like such a long time ago. This was the deck, the Brazilian deck that had Onyxia in it, the beginning of the comeback from Team Switzerland. Yeah. I still don't know what to think about that deck.
About which particular deck?
The one with Onyxia in.
It had, yeah, I mean, we don't get the chance to ask them, unfortunately, because they managed not to win. But yeah, it looked like just a token druid deck, and for some reason, it obviously had a job to do, didn't get that job done.
Yeah, if this is some deck that we've missed, feel free to let us know on Twitter. Maybe we'll be asking them on Twitter what the deck was.
This was a very well-worked game from Pekka. No wonder, he was so excited at the end of today, because he had an awful draw in this game. Absolutely dismal. Kept onto those Armor Smiths for a long time. And Brazil choosing not to take the Armor Smiths out meant the Armor Smiths gained a lot of armor. And you can see here how close it was at the end. Yeah, the slam wouldn't have been played because he would have actually drawn his deck.
Yeah, right, makes sense. But very close games. We got a little bit messy with the secrets here, because in the last couple of games, there were secrets everywhere. But at the end of the day, Switzerland didn't get messed up. They took it away. Both players praying. They wanted this win so bad. But in the end, it was Switzerland that stood tall. And there we go.
Thank you, production. That's the picture of the kiss that Liam gave at the start of the match
Cute.
after winning his first game.
Cute.
And
looks like a passport photo, but cute. Okay, let's
what
take.
does it matter what sort of passport, what sort of photo it is?
Let's take one last look at Group A. China and Indonesia still need to play tomorrow. Robwing and Cora are going to cast that one for you to conclude the group. But for now, Bulgaria looking nice on the top. It's close between Bulgaria and Brazil, actually. 12-9 win record. So +3. I can count. +3 for them. +1 for Brazil. And yeah, if China win 3-0, what's that? +4, yeah.
Yeah,
China needs to
and you can just see how close that group was with those records there all the way through. So, yeah, that's going to be tomorrow evening. We still have another match today, though, Dan.
Yeah, we do indeed. So don't go anywhere, because our home nation...
I'm not from Peru.
The other one. United Kingdom versus Peru coming up next. We'll be right back.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.